Chapter number 8. We stopped under the willows by Kempton Park and lunched. It is a pretty little spot there, a pleasant grass plateau running along by the water's edges and overhung by willows. We had just commenced the third course, the bread and jam. When a gentleman in shirtless sleeves and a short pipe came along and wanted to know if we knew that we were trespassing. We said we had not given the matter sufficient consideration as yet to enable us to arrive at a definite conclusion on that point, but that if he assured us on his word as a gentleman that we were trespassing, we would, without further hesitation, believe it. He gave us the required assurance and we thanked him. But he still hung about and seemed to be dissatisfied. So we asked him if there was anything further that we could do for him, and Harris, who is of a chimmy disposition, offered him a bit of bread and jam. I fancy he must have belonged to some society sworn to abstain from bread and jam, for he declined it quite gruffly, as if he were vexed at being tempted with it. And he added that it was his duty to turn us off. Harris said that if it was a duty it ought to be done, and asked the man what was his idea with regard to the best means for accomplishing it. Harris is what you would call a well-made man of about number 1 size, and looks hard and bony, and the man measured him up and down, and said he would go and consult his matter, and then come back and chuck us both into the river. Of course we never saw him any more, and of course all he really wanted was a shilling. There are a certain number of riverside roughs who make quite an income during the summer by slouching about the banks and blackmailing weak-minded noodles in this way. They represent themselves as sent by the proprietor. The proper course to pursue is to offer your name and address and leave the honor, if he really has anything to do with the matter, to summon you and prove what damage you have done to his land by sitting down on a bit of it. But the majority of people are so intensely lazy and timid that they prefer to encourage the imposition by giving in to it rather than put an end to it by the exertion of a little firmness, where it is really the honors that are to blame. They ought to be shown up. The selfishness of the riparian proprietor grows with every year. If these men had their way, they would close the river Thames altogether. They actually do this along the minor tributary streams and in the backwaters. They drive a post into the bed of the stream and draw chain across from bank to bank, and nail huge notice boards on every tree. The sight of those notice boards arouses every evil instinct in my nature. I feel I want to tear each one down and hammer it over the head of the man who put it up, until I have killed him. And then I would bury him and put the board up over the grave as a tombstone.